Let's see. Are we going live? All right, we're going live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of I was almost late to my own party. Had some things going on. Went for my 1 hour walk. Decided to get a little extra time in with my younger son, Brody. Drove him to school instead of making him walk today. It was Friday. I love every second with my youngest. We've given so much attention to the two older kids these past couple of years. It's all about Brody now as much as I can. But here we go. Welcome to another installment of Get a Klu in 52 for coaches. My name is Jeff Klubeck. I'm the author of Get a Klu in 52, and this is the third one. So let me just start off, and I'm going to do this quickly, but this is my parade of books. Here we go. It started off with Get a Klu in 52, the original mistake-filled version, done is better than perfect. Talk about vulnerability. I read a tip from this book every Sunday night in 2020, COVID year. So it was kind of important, therapeutic in a sense, and for consistency. You know, by the end of the year, it was like a really important thing, all mistakes included, to just do something every week that had a professional vibe, tone, reminded us about consistency and showing up on time for something, et cetera, in that abyss of COVID. But I found a lot of mistakes in this book. I organized it into 5 categories, 10 tips in each category with 2 extra tips in the marketing section. And so I would have a year's worth and a reason to be online every week. And then I cleaned it up. Found a good editor, formatter, somebody that was very, very, very experienced in self-publishing and ghostwriting and formatting and editing for Amazon. And we created this version. And I read a tip in 2021 every week out of this book, and I streamed it into YouTube instead of the Facebook channel. And this is the one I'm proud of. I actually disabled this. Unless you get it on the black market, I don't think you can even get this anymore, because it's just it served its purpose and now it's done. This is the one that you want to get. So if you don't see my cartoon face on the original Get a Klu in 52, keep searching until you find it. Then, as I've mentioned before, oh, here comes Margot. All right. Hey, Margot. Welcome.
Good morning.
Yeah, so a client of mine, Vipo, I'm in the middle of my introductions here, and we'll get to conversation in a second. So my client, Vipo, he's like, I've been working on a book, and I've got some tips organized also. What a great approach to write a book. Just write down a bunch of tips, and you don't have, it's just a really neat way to get a book out there. Everybody has a book inside of them. So he asked me to help him organize, and we created 5 categories for his book, Give Your Way to the Top. It started, he's a serial go-giving entrepreneur, right? And he has a charity for hope. So we wanted to build up and lead up to this philanthropic, idea of service and giving and helping others, etc. But we don't start our lives that way. So this book got organized like 10 tips on, the first category of tips was learning how to receive, then learning how to produce. We have to be productive members of society. We get good at that. Then the third category was learning how to lead others in their production. And then the fourth category was protect. We were able to come up with close to 10 tips, around 10 tips in protecting all this great stuff that's been produced, including our health, our relationships, our finances, our achievements, etc. And then finally, after all of that, we're ready to serve and give. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't serve at any of those other phases, but it was a nice chronological progression to organizing these tips for people. So what's funny is I joined him every Tuesday night when he was reading his tips. We'd have good conversations streaming into his channel. And then we both got done. I got done reading my tips. He'd Get a Klu in 52. He got done reading his tips, and we looked around like, what are we going to do now? So I said, well, why don't we do another Get a Klu in 52, but do the entrepreneur edition? So, we'll peanut butter and chocolate, or 1 + 1 = 3. He's forgotten more about being an entrepreneur than I've ever learned, and I know a lot. So we came together and we wrote Get a Klu in 52, or we produced this book, I should say. It's a better way to say it. We produced this book. And then we read it every Tuesday night last year at 8 o'clock. We would read from my version at 8 p.m. and stream into my Facebook channel. And then we created, in his branding, we created the same book, but just a couple of tweaks, different ISBN number we would read into his. Vipul, how are you, man? He's actually watching on the stream. I should put a comment in there. But Vipul, if you can hear me right now, tinyurl.com/GetAKluTip5. So tinyurl.com/GetAKluTip5, and you could come on into the live stream, into the studio with us. It should be on the promo, but I see Vipul's out there making a comment. Hello, my friend. So we did, so we did the Entrepreneur Edition. We read it at 8 o'clock and streamed into my YouTube channel. Then at 8:30, we would read it and stream into his channel. So this is like collaborative, co-branding, co-marketing, 1 + 1 = 3. Right? I see these projects out there where there's book project collaborations. People get to contribute a chapter or whatever, but no offense to that method. But I just think that a lot of people are making contributions to one person's brand.
Mm-hmm.
But what I wanted to do is let's collaborate and do it in each other's brands, right? So that's just the way I'm all about it. If I'm not having fun and helping people, I am not interested. So we did that, and that brings us to this year. 2023 is the new Get a Klu in 52, and it's this is for coaches. Now, along the way, last year, I also wrote this thing called the Integrity Game, and I'm not going to talk too much about the Integrity Game other than to say this. I want more integrity in my life. So I wrote a book about it. And I, as well as I've done, I want more coaching in my life. So I wrote a book about it. I want to be a better coach. I want to learn with and from other coaches that have come before me and are blazing trails. I got so much more to learn, even though I've been in this game 15, 16 years. But that's why it's for coaches, myself included. So it was fun to write something that I think can make a contribution to our profession, while I'm being vulnerably humble about the rough road that it's been. It's not an easy jam. So, being a coach, starting a coaching practice, it sounds good. You think, oh, flexible schedule, be your own boss, help people. All of those things are cool, right? But the practice, building a practice and being consistent and developing your messaging and learning how to do all the other aspects of the org chart, which we're going to get into in the 5th section of this book, is really quite interesting, to say the least. And so this is as much memoir as it is mentoring. It's as much viable as it is vulnerable. And I wear it on my sleeves as I do everything. So
Jeff,
before
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that a lot of people write books because they need to delve into the content for themselves. I know that at the heart of the book that I'm going to write, I guess I've started, but haven't, really plunged in, is about being busy, finding more ease in your life because you're no longer overscheduling and overcommitting yourself to just that busy work, that the stuff that you should be doing, and really parsing it down to what's important to you, what lights you up, what moves you forward. And that's what I need in my life, because I'm busy.
Well, yeah, it's just it's a neat, how should I say, it's an alleviating experience to admit right up front, I'm doing this not because I'm some guru, whiz bang expert, blah. No, I'm a real human being with real world challenges, with real stories to tell about how I got to where I am and where I want to go. So I think it's powerful to, instead of posture as some sort of expert, to acknowledge our vulnerabilities and where we are on our path and be proud of what we've done, but make sure that we're committed. Now, what you said, Margot, is look, this is why I'm a big fan of the Integrity Game. Anybody that has answers, answers to the 10 questions in this book will be able to say no to busyness and never. Mm-hmm. John Wooden, the famous coach, said, never mistake activity for achievement. And there's another famous quote that says, if you have no destination, any road will take you there. Mm-hmm. Right. But if you know where you're going, then you know what roads not to go down. You know what traffic signals to pay attention to and which ones to ignore.
Which is why with my clients, I really spend a lot of time up front talking about, well, what is really important to you? What are the things that you value, that you want to hold on to, because they, in most cases, have never gone through that exercise for themselves.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of the Integrity Game, as you know, and I'm incubating it further in the San Diego State University environment. I've got close to 70 students that are answering these 10 questions for themselves, and I'm just wildly in love with this thing coming to life. And I'm going to become a firm and staunch advocate that the reason I'm getting ready, I'm not ready, but I'm getting ready to say, if you have any problems in your life, it's probably because you don't have current answers to one of the 10 questions, one or more of the 10 questions. I'm almost so confident to say, does it hurt here? Does it hurt here? Does it hurt here? Does it hurt here? Take 10 of these and call me in the morning. All right. But that's the Integrity Game here.
I'm very proud of you for all that.
Well, did you do that on purpose? Because I told you recently that one of my goals is to make you proud of me. Margot, you touch my heart in ways. Okay, here we go. So Get a Klu in 52 for coaches. The whole idea to these tips books, right, is first of all, have 52 of them so you can have a legitimate reason to be online every week. It's low cost. It doesn't, it's the easiest thing in the world to have a reason to be visible, a reason to invite people to stuff. As long as your content's good and you know that you're going to put out some good content, right? Let the world know. And it doesn't even matter. Oh, I saw your thing, Jeff, Friday, and I wish I can't make it, but I'm busy. It doesn't matter. I'm doing something. Okay. And then let's set an appointment. We'll talk about it. Right. So this is just a really cool thing. That's first of all, 52. Second of all, 5 categories. What are 5 categories that have a logical relationship to each other? And then just make sure you've got close to 10 tips in each category. It's a really, really, really effective approach. And they say writing your first book is the hardest, and then it becomes easy after that. And I thought, oh my God, I can't even imagine writing the first one. What are you talking about? Easy after that. And now guess what? It's becoming easy. So if you want help writing your book, I'm a pretty good guy to talk to because I can help organize thoughts, keep the logic in there. There's so many things that I can do. I want to help people everybody's got a book inside of them, and most people die keeping it there. And so we don't want that. We got to get these books out into the world. So now let me go ahead and get to my tip review and take a couple more minutes for more conversation. Sue, you've been not totally quiet, but a little quiet. Do you have anything to say to introduce yourself before I get into my overview of the tips? And then, right, anything real quick?
Just it's good to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
from all the way down under.
Hi, Margot.
Yeah, I want to block out my window and just look at the two of you together and just be a fly on the wall watching 2 of my favorite women on this planet. And here we go. So Get a Klu in 52 for coaches. The 5 categories in this book are self-promotion, which is where we're at right now. Then we're going to move on. After we're done with all of the tips in this category, we're going to move on to engagement enrollment. After I self-promote all over the place, how do I get people to say, yes, I want you to be my coach? How do I get people to sign the contract, initial the commitments, and pay the money to have me talk to them once a week or once every other week or whatever the case may be, right? So engagement enrollment. Now, this is cool for coaches. This book isn't just for coaches. If you're a leader in an organization, if you're a manager, supervisor, director, VP, if you're an owner, entrepreneur, it's engagement. We want employee engagement. So the same things that I'm going to be talking about that I structured and packaged for an experience of a prospect to get enrollment are the same things you out there might want to do to get engagement. There's just a little bit of mapping that takes place. Well, if he does this as a coach, how would I do that as a manager, supervisor, director? So I've worked with financial advisors, real estate professionals, leaders of all forms. An agent is a leader, a broker is a leader. You guys with me on this? So this is for coaches, myself included, but it's also for you if you're a leader. And maybe you're not a leader now, but maybe you're an aspiring leader. Maybe you're an emerging leader. Maybe you're a top individual contributor and you know that there's a supervisory position open and your bowling team friends that you're out producing, right? You're about to get the job and you're going to have to manage the relationship because you're going into leadership. There's so many things that, like, how many times have you seen that, Margot, where the individual contributor gets promoted and now they got to hold their friends accountable that they used to be on the front lines with?
That's one of the hardest transitions in an organization is to go from being one of them to now being the boss of them. And if they don't have a good role model, then oftentimes they take the sledgehammer approach. Well, I'm the boss now, so what I say goes, and you just are supposed to do what I say, and have no clue about.
No what?
Have no. That was with a C, but it could be with a K. About how to state a vision for what they want the department or the organization to be, and then enroll those people, get them excited about that same vision so that everybody's marching in the same direction. And then it's a painless, effortless job to get everyone, going and accomplishing what the organization needs to. But if they don't have a good role model or they haven't been taught, they go about it in just these Neanderthal ways.
Yeah, I mean, and left to our own devices, we'll resort to survivalist instincts, fight or flight, and some of those basic jams, right? So there's a difference between management and leadership, right? And I think the difference is coaching skills. Okay, so, like succinctly, right? There are other things, but if somebody says to me, Jeff, what's the difference between a manager and a leader? Well, a manager manages to the numbers, but a leader manages to a person's potential. So the new manager needs to understand how to get people engaged, motivated, and accountable, and lead with love rather than authority and coercion and force and manipulation and misinformation and all of these other things. So, anyway, so there we go. That's a table setter. And here we go. Welcome to Get a Klu, right? The dedication section dedicated to my family, of course, but I had fun saying this book is dedicated to me. because I was like patting myself with 2 fingers because the struggle is real. That, like, I'm really proud of how I got here and all of the bumps and bruises along the way. I also want to give a shout out to founder Troy Hoffman. He's founder and CEO of Simpluris. He's a fractional founder now. And so if you want to get the nuts and bolts of getting the companies off the ground, Troy's a great person to talk to. And he honored me by writing the foreword, and he's a good friend. And that's Troy. So then when we got into the tips, of course, the tip number 1 in self-promotion was to start calling yourself a coach. There's always a magical moment where you have to embrace the identity. I'm a coach. I have coaching skills. I've become a coach. It's not what I do. It's who I am. It's in me. It's going to be a part of me all the time. That's magical. And you have to spend enough time like being 100% into that identity and put that try that outfit on and make sure it looks good on you. But then tip number 2 is only call yourself a coach when. I think the journey to becoming a coach, and when you realize, oh my God, I can coach. I can make a difference for people. That's so exciting. I started telling everybody in the world about it before I knew if it was appropriate or relevant or desired, if they cared or what have you. So check yourself. Only call yourself a coach when somebody asks you about it, or when it's appropriate, or when somebody's complaining about something too much. Make sure there's viability when you're promoting yourself as a coach. And then tip number 3 in this section was don't just call yourself a coach. Never mind the linguistics of the word just, minimalizing and putting a tail between your legs before you get started, and people can smell that. So never minimalize yourself, right? Everything that you say, I was just calling to reach, I was just trying to, get the just out of it and own yourself, right? Own what you're doing. Be clear about what you're doing and take the tail out from between your legs and be ready. Brave the vulnerabilities, right? I was just publishing a book. No, it's publishing a book. Okay. Sue, we've talked about this. You're always, wonderful in sharing your insights into some of these. Yeah, own it. And all the vulnerability. Like to me, like love is the willingness to be vulnerable. For my own or your personal, professional, spiritual growth, I'm willing to be vulnerable. So I'll put myself out there. We got, cool Kluby snacks. Like when people put the word just in front of something, this is from the book, right? It's a sign of weakness at best, minimization most probably, and flat out lying at worst. You weren't just calling to blank. You weren't just like, well, tell me what you're really trying to do, right? And then, oops, that's not, I don't want edit. There we go. And then tip number 4 last week was stop calling yourself a coach. The nutshell here is that this is an argument that I'm going to play out over and over again. Like if coaching is the only thing you're selling, okay, then maybe, but you're going to struggle getting wealthy, rich, profitable, etc. As a coach, we either were so many things before that and then decided to add coaching to our identities, or we get so good at coaching that we add other things to our identities. So speaker, trainer, author, consultant, practitioner, whatever, right? There's other things that we need to put onto our menu, and we want coaching to be one of them, of course. We got that skill set. But if we don't have a menu with other ways to help people, we're a one-trick pony, and we're going to be a broken, starving one-trick pony. And we're going to call ourselves a coach when what we're really doing for stable income is waiting tables or selling. Not that selling insurance is a bad thing, of course, but you know what I'm getting at, right? A lot of people that are selling insurance doing really well in this world, right? But I don't know. Anyway, I digress. So here we go. So that takes us to, we are always more than a coach is what I'm getting at there. And I'll add, so there it is. That's preview, 19 minutes into, but I made some time for some dialogue ahead of time. If Margot wants to speak, I want to listen. All right. So that takes us to page 35, right? Page 35 in your playbooks at home. Tip number 5, ain't no jive. Here we go on the word for word, and then we'll get back into a little dialogue. Tip number 5, get super, like in bold, all caps, right? Which, are you yelling, Jeff? Yeah, I'm yelling. Get super honest about your why. And by the way, real quick, I'm not saying anything new. Start with why. Simon Sinek, he popularized start with why the same way I want to popularize the integrity game. So why? What's your purpose? I'm not inventing anything here. I'm just taking common knowledge and putting it in the right place in my book. Hopefully it makes a difference for you. Here we go. The importance of starting with why and having a major definitive purpose has been known for eons and taught to us in the last 100 years by professional growth icons from Napoleon Hill to Brian Tracy to Simon Sinek. Certainly, when playing the integrity game, see tip number 2 in the accountability section, the first set of questions we struggle with are those of purpose, because every other answer to any other question depends on our honest answers to questions of purpose. My goodness, that sounds so beautiful the way I read it. I'm sorry, I'm marking it as that's a Klu snack. I'm going to say it again. Every other answer to any other question depends on our honest answers to questions of purpose. Saying it simply, I'm not a fan of building a mansion on top of quicksand. Klu snack, right? If you can see self-promotion as a mansion that you are building, you need to see your why as the foundation. Imagine the number of decisions, labor hours, money, people, and considerations that go into building a mansion, all of it resting on a foundation, the basis for its structural integrity. Same with self-promoting and marketing ourselves as coaches. All our efforts need the support of and congruence with our why. And just like a solid concrete slab foundation for a mansion, our why should be heavy. That's bold and italicized, right? Mm-hmm. By heavy, I mean that it is not enough to just get clear on a why. Like, are you ready this now, Sue? I'm going to get into my Klu fun rhythm here. Are you guys ready? I think this is going to be funny. By heavy, I mean that it is not enough to just get clear on a why. Like any old why that sounds good on surface, but is vague or dishonest at core. I mean, are you guilty of ever saying something like, here comes Margot, here comes Sue. I became a coach because I really love helping people. Guilty is a harsh word, but the truth is helping people isn't clear at all. And face it, helping people is not the real, true, or sole reason why we become coaches. The truth is, drum roll, please. Thank you. The truth is we become a coach because we want to make money, either in addition to or in place of how we are currently making money. I'm going to say that again. The truth is we become a coach because we want to make money either in addition to how or in place of how we are currently making money. The single greatest crack in the self-promotion foundation is failing to be honest about the making money motive to the degree that it makes us vague or dishonest in our marketing decisions. Other cracks in our foundation could include, I'm going to entertain myself here again. I don't want to deal with looking for a job, so I became a coach. I was tired of competing in corporate with ass kissers and backstabbers, so I became a coach. People have always told me I would be a good coach, so I became a coach. I want other people to avoid the mistakes I have made, so I became a coach. Are you out of your mind? We became a coach because we want to make a living this way instead of any of the other ways or in addition to all the other ways. Say it with me. I want to make money as a coach. If all the ways I could make money.
Coach. Although, Jeff, I'm gonna just say to you, that has never been my bottom line.
That's because you're not a struggling coach. You have a successful seasoned career as a totally seasoned HR professional. You've added coaching skills to your toolbox. Now in your service, volunteering for the Professional Coaches Alliance to advance the profession. And what's the mission of Professional Coaches Alliance? I'm not arguing with you. I'm agreeing with you. There's a difference. Where this book is, for myself included, of course, right? But we really want to help emerging and aspiring coaches. And if they can't get clear about the income piece, right, then just say, I want to volunteer as a coach.
That I completely agree with you.
Yeah,
my why
we're totally
is,
aligned
and
on
I've
that.
had it for about, over 30 years, is that every employee deserves to work for a great boss.
Yeah.
And my job is to help create, help influence, help build those good leaders in the organization so that every employee works for a great boss.
It still comes down to, in my opinion, it's still, we want to be honest, right? Look, if every employee works for, and I don't even like calling bosses bosses. I like what Nikki said the other day that soon we're about 10, 15 years away for everybody being called a coach inside of an organization. Every employee has a coach, right? And so, but still what happens when companies have disengaged employees? What happens when supervisors are supervising people that have issues that coaching can take care of, but I'm not a coach, so I'm a supervisor, so I can't handle that. right? Guess what happens? It all comes down to profit and loss. So in our careers, we're not going to advance if we can't get it. Also, there's still a money component everywhere, and if we can't recognize it and be
absolutely
honest,
because the organization will be much more viable, much more profitable when they have everybody.
And if I'm a boss,
playing together.
Yeah, if I'm a boss, I'm newly promoted into my boss of supervising in my role of supervising others. I don't even like saying boss. You got that in my head now. I got to get it out. Is all right. I'm the leader now, like you said. Archaic or what? Anthropological. You said something that we resort to. In Neanderthal. Okay, anthropological. What? Oh, Neanderthal. We resort to that way, right, to get people to do their stuff. Well, if instead I said, well, you know what, I'm going to take a coaching and leadership training. I'm just going to show up and have coffee during Jeff's thing every Friday and just try to learn about coaching. Now I'm going to get raised. I'm going to get promoted. I'm going to get, my performance reviews are going to be better because my people are going to be engaged, motivated, and accountable. So when it comes time for my performance review and my KPIs and my so forth and so on, right, I'm going to get more raises, more promotions, more opportunity, more visibility, more viability, and it's all going to lead to more wealth, whether it's money or anything else. But let's just say it another way. If we don't take time to recognize that coaching is viable, coaching is valuable, coaching is worth money, and people pay money for coaching, and organizations now are investing in coaching and getting LinkedIn things every day now, for full-time positions inside of organizations for coaches. Whoa, what's happened to this world? Thank God. Right? Thank God. But I just want people to get honest, get super honest. And maybe it's not your why, but get super honest about your why and stop being vague about why you're a coach. Right? And this is some of these things, like I like helping people. Okay. There's a lot of ways to do that, and how do you secure your mask first? How are you going to help people if you're broke as a coach?
Yeah.
So, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. We're in alignment, Margot. But I like to push. God, Margot you keep my saw sharp, Margot. All right. Here we go. The truth is, we become a coach because we want to make money, either in addition to or in place of how we are currently making money. The single greatest crack. Oh, I read all of that stuff already. Again, you get it.
Yeah.
The truth is, we all want meaningful work with a monetized skill set.
Yes.
That allows us to be ourselves and call our own shots. Let's say it again. The truth is, we all want meaningful work with a monetized skill set that allows us to be ourselves and call our own shots. Keep working at getting super honest about all your why for being a coach so that your foundations for self-promotion are mansion ready or woman ready. Or man or woman ready. It's all good. So there it is. There's today's tip. And let's open up some dialogue. Sue, do you have any comments, questions, etc.? Margot, do you have any more stuff to offer? I think I want to type maybe a couple things into the banners here. So opening up for dialogue now. More dialogue now.
I think one of the things I've noticed in putting this process into practice is it builds confidence to have clarity when you're in conversation, when opportunities come up, that you can respond more effectively when you are clear about your why. And it helps you to, through that process, be credible because you're not vague. You're clear and you can say, yes, I can do this, or no, I can't. And it's okay to say no. And I believe that sometimes you get more credibility when you can say no. You can, but then you might be able to refer someone to someone else because you've built a network as well. So.
Yeah. And remember, the thing that it came to mind, thank you for that, Sue, is when we talk about why and do we want to make money or not? Do I want to make money? Am I coaching to make money or not? That's like, we can get into that conversation like this, right? But let's remember that there's another circle around that conversation, which is the foundation of our self-promotion, our marketing communication. That's what we're talking about here. Section number 1 is self-promotion. So in the context of self-promoting, if we're not clear that we want to earn an income as a coach, that we coach for money, that this is part of our business, it's a service on our menu, right? And there's an exchange of value and it's worth a lot And if we're not clear about that and that's not communicated, then it's going to be so much harder when it comes time to enroll. Can you imagine, like, you do a complimentary or 2 complimentary sessions, as I'm going to teach later on in the section. It's like, all right, so would you like me to be your coach? Yeah, I'd love to, because you love helping people. Well, I charge for that. When you charge for that? You never said that before. Oh, this is going to cost money? Well, no, forget it. Like, you really want to, right, market yourself, promote, schedule an appointment, do a comp session or 2, and then for them to be shocked at the end of that you actually have a business and a practice and that you'd like to earn an income and like eat. You know what I'm saying? The context is self-promotion. Margot, what say you?
It was never hard for me to make the transition from being in corporate, where they paid me to coach leaders, to being on my own. I just said, now it'll cost you. What my challenge was setting my initial price.
Okay.
I went way low.
Why?
I knew I had to charge. I knew I was comfortable charging, but I was way low, and it wasn't until I was in my coaching program that I recognized the very important aspect that says the more people commit to their enlightenment, their future, their growth, the more and the more it costs them, then the harder they will work, the more committed they will be, because they've got that money on the line. When you're charging a couple $100, they don't have any skin in the game, or very little. And that's when I raised my prices. And I found it to be true. So my
right.
better clients are the ones that pay more. They work harder. They're more committed to the process. They're more committed to making sure we never miss a call. They're more committed to following through and doing the practice work that we talk about.
That's right.
So that was my thing. I knew I could charge, and asking for money in exchange wasn't an issue. It was the amount.
How much? It was how much. That's right. People have asked me in the past, and we're going to touch on. Oh, go ahead, Sue.
Yeah, I was just going to ask. And Margot, did you find in that process of awareness that by the sort of natural progression, you were defining your why with more clarity, and therefore you were becoming more aware of the value that you brought to those conversations, and therefore it was easier to charge?
Yeah, and part of it had to do with my letting go of having all the answers, because when I was in a corporate role, I did as much consulting and mentoring as I did coaching. I called it coaching, but in reality, it was advice giving. It was telling some, people, no, you go into that meeting and you say this, and telling people what to do. And so my transition was from letting go of, I've got the answers for you, I know what you need to do next, to sitting back and listening and really having them discover what it is they needed to do next. Listening for where they were struggling and mirroring back that hesitancy or that fear, and then letting them discover. That's so much more powerful. So when I really became a coach, I was charging as a coach.
Mm-hmm. And it evolves. I remember it evolves. You guys know my sense of humor, right? So role play this with me. Sue, ask me, Jeff, how much do you charge for coaching?
Jeff, how much do you charge for coaching?
As much as I can get. No, thank you for laughing. But the point, back to Margot's point, is so important. Margot said it this way, which was gorgeous. The more they pay, the more they're committed. The more they pay, the more that they'll show up, they'll do the work, the more that invested skin in the game. I say the same thing, but the other way around. If you can easily afford coaching, then you can easily afford to cancel, delay, postpone your session. You can easily afford to let the excuses get into your mind. Now ask me again, Sue, how much do you charge for coaching?
How much do you charge for coaching, Jeff?
Just a little bit more than you're going to feel comfortable with. And the reason I do that,
I like that.
You can hear the rest of my sentence.
Mm-hmm.
You follow? So it's going to be just a little bit more than you're comfortable with. And that's so you understand this is an investment, not a spend. The ROI based on you coming into the session, showing up and doing what we talk about. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to shape the path and help you arrive at your decisions on your commitments, and your skin will be in the game. So you will do what you commit to on my watch. If this is so easily affordable for you that you can just throw the credit card on the table, I didn't charge enough, and you this might not work for us. So, so Margot's point is gold, absolute gold, and that's the journey that we go on. Margot, let me ask you now for some dialogue here. Vulnerably, I'll say one of the things that I struggled with when I was setting and raising rates, first of all, to make sure that they had enough skin in the game, right? There's one client, as a matter of fact, Vipul, I tell this story about Vipul all the time. And I got it out of the way early on, so now I can tell it however often I want, right? But Vipul, I remember he started with me so many years ago. I remember at the time, and I'll just put this out there, you guys, you ready? I remember I was charging, I think, $225 a coaching hour. $225 a session was my rule of thumb, pricing model. And then with Vipul, he had let me know that he was shopping. He had shopped other coaches. And then when I learned more about his background, I realized, some of the things that you're sharing with me, that he likes nice things. He's a successful person. He's a top shelf buyer. You're never going to see Vipul drinking a Bud Light. You know what I mean? No offense to Bud Light. They didn't pay me to mention them, right, as the beverage of the masses. But you guys understand? And I thought, I got nervous. And it's not about Vipul. It was about me. I got nervous. I started like, what if I'm not charging enough? Margot, have you ever had that self-talk? What if I'm not charging enough? Like, and want. Time slowed down for me. And I thought, I was done with my process. I'd done the first comp session. I'd done the second comp session. We were there in person. We were at the university club. Do you want me to be your coach? Yes. And now let's start with a 12 session pack. And I had want. And I remember myself talking in that moment, like, ooh, if I price too low, he might say, oh, this guy doesn't value himself. There's got to be something wrong here. You follow? And I went and I'll just put this out there. At that time, I said $375 a session, 12 sessions. I'll give you 10% off for paying in full up front. Let's call it $4,050 or whatever it is with the intake fee, blah, blah. And he just broke out the American Express card and threw it down on the table anyway. Like, damn, I could have got more. No. That Vipul's laughing with us. I tell that story all the time. But I don't tell that story about Vipul, other than that he's one of these clients that I cherish because he's one of these people that valued me. He let me know that I was the guy for him, and now I had to step up and value myself the way that he was going to value me. It's like we get these opportunities in life. Forget about coaching. Forget about coaching. Like anywhere in life, we get these opportunities when people come along and they tell us, show us, help us see that they see the best in us or see us better than we see ourselves, maybe. It's my favorite moments in life because then I get to prove them right.
It's like playing tennis with somebody who's much better than you are. Your game goes up. And I'm not a tennis player, but I've heard. I think that's true with any endeavor. If you're working side by side with somebody who is more skilled, more experienced than you up your game. And I think that's true with coaching as well. When you've got a very successful client who is willing to pay you more than you've been paid before, you bring another level of your own expertise to the table.
Yeah, what's interesting now is that Vipul buys in bulk. Forget this 12 session stuff. He buys 50 at a time to get the rate down. You understand? Like, hey, if I retain you for 50 sessions at a time and deploy you through all of my companies, can I get that rate down? Jeff, I'm growing, and expanding. He tells people all the time. When I hired Jeff, my wife and I, we had 5 or 6 companies. Now we just opened our 13th business, and I retained Jeff to make sure that he's deployed across the organizations. So if my manager at my hotel needs something, or if my personal assistant needs something, or if my business partner in my consulting firm needs something, Jeff's on retainer. What a great relationship. What a wonderful jam, right? And so Vipul has been wise to take advantage of all the things, because I'm not just a coach. I'm not just a coach. I'm a speaker. I'm a writer. I'm a presenter. I'm a facilitator. You understand? So you guys, you aspiring and emerging coaches out there, you got to start by being a coach. You got to start calling yourself a coach, but then get careful about what you're doing and really look at the big picture and understand the largest impact you can make. And that's why Margot is here. That's why I'm here. That's why Sue's here, because you're not alone in this jam. I mean, I felt alone at many times, but I joined the San Diego Professional Coaches Alliance, and there's other like-minded people struggling with stuff that I was struggling with. And now I'm back in the new PCA as Vice President of Communication. And Margot, do you have anything to say about the Professional Coaches Alliance? Well, we can plug we're joined at the hip in our mission to serve this profession. We know how valuable coaching is in the world.
So excited about the way we are morphing.
Elaborate.
Into the premier organization to help coaches build a thriving business. And it's our absolute focus. We bring in amazing talent to provide their wisdom, share their wisdom with the members. And we're building in a number of additional opportunities for coaches to talk among themselves, to support one another in doing just that, in building a thriving business. So it gives opportunities for people who support the coaching community to offer their services throughout the organization. And it offers coaches who are new to the coaching industry a tremendous amount of learning opportunities, and we're moving towards having a core curriculum for new coaches to go through, so that they can get their coaching certification, they can come to us, move their way through a program, and at the end have a business instead of just a hobby.
Yeah, an income earning hobby versus, profitable practice, and maybe even a business, right? So we're going to go ahead, 9:43. Let's go ahead and thank you for that, Margot. I'm going to go ahead and do last call before this is going to be the 5th week in a row now that I'm offering VIP codes to 2 evergreen e-courses or memberships that we have for goal setting and the 90-day challenge for the integrity game. But last call for comments, questions, jokes, compliments, anything like that. Constructive feedback. Anything. Last call.
No, all good.
All right. So like we were talking about the integrity game, there's 10 question sets, and what I did is I created a 90-day challenge last year in the fall, and there was a 1 week which is in the overview, and then 10 Zooms that represented the 10 points on the model. There was a Thanksgiving week there in between where I previewed my online office hours, what I do for Klu's Ooze, my group mentoring, which is different. Klu's Ooze is online office hours in support of the coaching and leadership training content, that core training material. Now I'm doing Klu's Ooze for real students at San Diego State on Sunday nights, by the way. And if you want to drop in, let me know. Send me a message. You guys can come and hang out with the students. They would love to see you. So I did that on Thanksgiving. It was just a bonus week, the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. I didn't want to do something content rich, so that was a bonus in there. So these 13 Zooms that are recorded, I got subject matter experts to help me develop all of the topics: purpose, gifts, potential, goals, strategies, commitment, word and commitment, action taking, intentional learning, accumulation of accomplishments, and service to others. Those are the 10 question sets. So those are the core 10 Zooms, but there's an intro week, a concluding week, and a bonus week for Thanksgiving. So that's evergreen now. In the private Facebook group that comes with the 90-day challenge, there's also bonus content like Klubi Snack videos and Fly By Friday, happy Fly By Friday coaching videos. Back when I was traveling the world, and I would do, self-promoting videos and content-based videos. So lots of motivational Mondays and Fly By Fridays and Klubi Snacks, and we could jack that private Facebook group up with a lot of different content. The interacting with this on the membership side, if you just want to go through it by yourself, you can. We have a membership site, so you can get all of the content. But if you want to be more social, interact with others, like, comment, share, chat inside of a private group, that's set. It's evergreen. We charge $5 or $4.97 for it, but you guys, with using the VIP code TIG VIP 200, you can get it down to $2.97. Why is that a deal? Because when we run it back again this fall, Margot, do you want to be one of my guests? And we're going to charge more for it because it's worth more, and we're going to follow Margot's lead, and we're going to jack that thing up to $9.97 at least. So get it now. It's going to be $497 all the way up to at least September 1st this year of 2023, but you can get it for $297 all the way up until September 1st. Then this VIP code will take you down to $7.97 once we raise it to $9.97. That's the funnel world. Right. So get in and check it out. And it comes with 2 one-on-one sessions with an Integrity Game certified coach. I know the coaching staff, so I might have a hand in who you get as your coach. Signed copy of the book, a downloadable workbook, access to the private Facebook group, 2 one-on-one sessions in addition to 13 of those recordings. And we're going to add 12 or 13 more, and we're going to keep on going and going and going with brand new subject matter experts and maybe some repeat offenders. I mean, returning guests. And you could tell I'm really excited about it. I'm proud of it. That was like last year's objectives: write the book, make it a #1 bestseller. We did that on Amazon, then create the group coaching program, make that evergreen. And all of that led me back to San Diego State. Now I got new objectives for this year and promoting the Professional Coaching Alliance work that we're doing, Margot. And this is the perfect, of all the Get a Klu 52s I could write, this was the perfect one for this year. So I'm glad to be supported by you. It's so great to see you, Sue and Margot. And then the other thing too, we're in February now, so I can't say Happy Klu Year, Happy New Year. I can't do that. We're in February now, but what I can say is, now that you've given up on your resolutions, how would you like to set some goals? So it's never too late. I used to say, here's what I say in December: if you wait till January to start setting goals for Q1, it's too late. Now here's what I say in February: it's never too late to set your goals because Q2 is coming. So this is this you can get in here. It's $300, but you're getting $100 off if you want to get in. And I added an A and changed the R in the SMART goal setting to infuse more motivation and accountability into it. If you're setting a goal, that means you want a new result. But if you think you're going to get it doing the same behaviors, you got another thing coming. We call that insanity. So welcome to the Insanity Police. I don't have a badge to show you, but trust me. And I'm here to police insanity, and you have to change behavior if you want a different result. So come on into the SMART goal setting program, and you'll see all the recorded content, and we'll do new workshops and keep on adding good content there as well. We'll make sure you get 2 one-on-one sessions with an Integrity Game certified coach. When you get into anything that we do online, you're not just online on your own. You're always going to get at least 2 one-on-ones with an Integrity Game certified coach. So there you have it. That wraps up the 5th installment of Get a Klu in 52 for coaches, myself included. Sue and Margot, as long as you keep on coming on the line, I'm going to learn every week. So thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll see you next week unless you have anything else to say before we dismiss for today.
No, it's good to be here.
The only thing I'll add is some of my conversations these last couple of weeks have been with people who are, like you said, done with making resolutions and want to change. And the thing I've been saying is, let's commit to doing it once and for all, making this change and never having to retread the same path, because, they've been telling me they've been wanting to change this for years. They've been, making this resolution for years. And it's like, aren't you tired of that? Let's do something different so that you can say, I did this once and for all, and now it's done. I'm a different person because I've got that behind me.
Yeah, well, changing on your own is the hard part, Margot. I love that you spoke at the end there just long enough for me to put your name in lights. Isn't this cool? I'm learning all the multitasking and the banners and the new tech and the StreamYard, and it's just so fun. Anyway.
I was waiting for that. Yeah.
Okay, good. Now we're complete. And anyway, if I could jump through this Zoom and give you guys huge hugs, I would. So
back at you.
Yeah. All right. I love you guys so much. Thanks for coming on board and making it. You guys see how I light up when I get to interact with your energies. It means the world to me. Sue, did you have one last thing to say?
No, all good. Just absolutely loving the tips, and keeps me accountable too.
Yeah. You see that, Margot? We're international. It's right there, down under, baby. All right. Sue, I love you so much. Thank you guys. Margot, I love you so much. And we'll if we interact in between now and then, cool. But we'll see you next week for tip number 6 of Get a Klu in 52 for coaches, myself included. Good night, everyone. Good day, everyone.
Bye.